Well, welcome to another edition of the full 80 minutes on Show Me the Money Rugby League TV. Thank you very much to Matt Shaw, to Jimmy Mack, to you, Joe, and you, Craig, for keeping my chair warm whilst I've enjoyed the magic weekend in Newcastle and one too many nights out, and also the summer bash in Headingley, Leeds, and again, one too many nights out with the players. Listen, look, it's good to be back. You've been away on holiday. Joe's got his lovely girlfriend over from America. I've decided to go out with the players and go in the bars and the nightclubs. But yeah, I'm back.
Michael, by public demand, everyone wanted you back. The fans everybody have clamoured for you back. Even the ones Mick who like to put the boot in you have asked for you back. So, you know, we've had to renegotiate your contract, which took many hours of negotiations, but we're in a great place. I think that you're a massive part of the show, Mick, from the start. We miss you, so let's get on with it and let's roll.
So yeah, stop the search, call off the missing persons search. I'm here, I've been found, and we're back. So yeah, the full 80 minutes. Just quickly start with some news that broke earlier, and that was that the senior board members, Ralph Rimmer, Simon Johnson, Ken David, have finally appointed the new head of the Rugby Football League commercial, and that is going to be Frank Slevin. He's been appointed as the first chairman of RFL Commercial, the new company, of course, which has been created to drive Rugby League's commercial development as part of the realignment of the sports governance. People might be like, who is Frank Slevin? Well, he's also on the independent chair of British Cycling. He's been appointed following a thorough recruitment process. He has formidable commercial background. Go on LinkedIn, if you're on LinkedIn, and type his name in, and you'll see where he's worked. He's been the chairman of House of Fraser. He's been chairman of HSBC, Citigroup Banking, BNP, Paribas. He has a lot of punch behind him. And it's a very welcome appointment, just quickly, because it's somebody fresh, somebody from outside the sport, somebody who, along with IMG, going to bring new ideas to the sport and hopefully, fingers crossed, grow the commercial aspect of the sport, grow the broadcasting aspect of the sport, grow the sponsorship, and hopefully Rugby League will grow on the back of this appointment. He's got a lot of work to do as Frank. There's no word about it. The game is broken. He has a lot of work to do. You know, we probably are at one of the lowest points that the sport has ever been since Maurice Lindsay first did the first B-Sky B deal in '95 for the initial creation of the Super League. So I wish him the best of luck. I wish Ken Davey, Ralph, Simon at the RFL as well the best of luck. And hopefully, you know, the experience, what Frank's going to bring to the sport, we'll see some fruit on the branches of the trees. But he's got a very tough job, Craig.
Well, based on the history of who they've hired before, you know, that's not been a great success, is it? We don't have to go back to the, you know, and I don't want to name names, but the last 3 or 4 commercial directors we've had, the most 3 or 4 people who are going to change the game have not. It's been a complete failure on that part. And ultimately, if you hire somebody and he's a failure, the boss has to take the rap. You know, that's the way it has to be. If you've got a strong organisation, do you know what? I'm going to differ a little bit here, and I use this a lot. Today's policies, but I had my own company, Mick. I had my own company from being 26-year-old, and right through to when we sold out, I was the boss. So I had my directors, I had my production managers. But ultimately, the big calls were always done on a Monday in the board meeting, and it was ultimately my call. And that happened for 10 years till we sold out, and everyone gave each other a hug, and we looked at, they got bought out by quite a big group, and then they went on to. I think that to be successful in a world of how can I put it without being politically correct. Being politically correct, where you've got to hire this, got to hire that, they've got to do this, got to do that, but you can't say that no more, you can't say this. The organisations who seem to be absolutely flying are the ones who still have the old-fashioned, that one person being that character. And I use it a lot, Mick. The last 9 weeks I've watched the UFC non-stop. they break records everywhere they're going. Dana White comes out, figures, biggest ever in that arena, biggest ever in that arena, biggest ever in... This is behind the world being in probably really economically not in a great place. We've come out of COVID, everybody owes millions of pounds. Everybody, Mick. Rugby League itself, if all the clubs said what they owe today back to the government, I reckon they'd all walk away, apart from the ones who've got Simon Moran, who can afford, there won't be many Ken David, you get me? The rest would probably go, listen, on balance sheet, we're not making money, we're losing $500,000, plus in COVID we borrowed £1 million. So whoever wants this company, I'll not mention where, but a club asked me the other day about where they were economically, and would there be people interested, in my opinion, in buying a club? Because I suppose I did it as a young man, and I said, well, who in the right mind? So what your man's got to do there is lift us all, and the Rugby League, and lift us, IMG, whoever's going to do it, and say, so these clubs become a commodity again and become somebody who people want interested. I reckon at the moment, do you know the reason we've got the same people in the sport running the same clubs? Nobody else wants to take them.
Correct. I'd agree with that.
Nobody else wants to take them. I reckon it's one of them things where you stood there and everyone's going, you know what, I've got this, and nobody wants to come. Imagine you having a stock and nobody wants. Do you know what happens to that stock? Goes down. Decreases in value. You've got to make people believe that stock's going to go up. That's what this man's job is. This man's job and the IMG have got to make it so Rugby League seems a right good. Then there's 50 billionaires, there's 50 multi-millionaires who might go, yeah, I tell you what, I love this. Do you know one thing, Mick, if we could get it right, I don't know if Joe will get this from being in America, you've talked about it. We've got 0.000.3 of a sporting market in the UK. Same in Europe, nothing in America, as Joe will tell you. I hope the next person who comes in, that's got to change. We've talked about it. Why don't we try the Australian market where there is a rugby league market? Why don't we try and promote that a lot better? There's already they love rugby league in Australia. We've got 0.0. Do you get me? The first job they've got to do, Mick, surely it's got to be that. Do you agree, Joe?
Yeah, especially obviously with Australia loving rugby league so much, it doesn't make sense how it's not bigger over there. Why they don't watch this? They don't watch our side of the world's rugby that much, do they? Which is, I think it's such a shame, isn't it? Since a lot of Australian, New Zealand players, there's so many of them in our game, as we all know. Why would they not come and watch who's playing well over here? Watch who might be going over. Watch some young England stars who might be playing in the NRL one day. That's the thing I always love about sport. Whatever level I'm watching, I love to see the future stars. I love watching college basketball because you're watching. There might be one or two players per game, per tournament. There's not always many, but when you spot them and see them, it brings a joy to it, brings excitement, doesn't it? So I don't see why we can't start doing that and getting getting the Australians excited about our young English lads who might come over and take them on one day and give them a challenge on the world stage.
Do you think, Mick, in all our time doing this show, do you think any other body other than Rugby League fan would know who our chairman is?
No.
Do you think anybody other than Rugby League... And in fact, I'm going to reword that. Do you think anybody other than an absolute 1% anorak would get it? I think that's the bit we're going to change. If it's Ralph's the man and his team, put them up front. Dana White fronts up everything he does. Eddie Hearn, they front up. They go, yeah, I'm the man. I run this. I'll tell you exactly what's going to happen when, and I'm the man. When have you ever seen that?
Well, we saw a little bit when
COVID.
Ralph was trying to defend the academy decision, but that was a car crash, and I think Ralph would be honest and admit himself it was car crash TV.
When he came out, I've got it.
When he came out, and since then he's kept a very, very low profile. I don't know if you've noticed, but...
Well, they said Ralph had not done his homework on it, hadn't he? They said he were stating facts that he didn't understand. Yes. It was just
And look, like I say, I was at the Magic Weekend, and as you know from the pictures I was sending you in the WhatsApp group, I was sat with Kane, I was sat with Simon, I was sat with...
Are you name dropping again?
Nothing wrong with that.
I agree.
I was chatting with Mr. Wayne, talking about the England World Cup squad and obviously what he plans to do, you know, for England's group with Greece, France and Samoa.
Sam, can you check to see if he actually was there with these? But go on.
I sent you the pictures, Craig, on
No, you
WhatsApp.
didn't, but I'm not going to... I never seen any of them.
You saw the pictures, didn't you?
I'm keeping quiet.
They're winding me up. Anyway, there were a few. What's Gleddle doing in here? And I'm like, this is. I won't say too much, but Ralph was hosting a Barry McDermott, Stuart Fielding Clash of the Rivals event. So the ticket sales were a bit. I shared it all over Facebook and Twitter, and they sold a few more. So Ralph got his commission and I got looked after it.
You've got sausage and mash and a bit of treacle pudding, but
it were actually fish and chips. It were lovely.
Wow.
And hot roast beef sandwiches, Craig. But yeah, no. Look, going on what, like you say, what Frank Slemmon's going to do, Craig, he's got to maximise rugby league's potential, but he can only do that, obviously, on the back of a successful realignment, on the back of restructuring and how the sport is going to look. And we might as well cover it now, 'cause at the start of the show, and don't forget those people that have sent in their tweets and Facebook posts. I've screenshot every comment and question, so we'll be going on to them a little bit later on, so fear not, we haven't ignored you, and I know there's a hell of a lot of Bradford this, Bradford that, so we'll just throw the Bradford segment in one big swoop. But no, it was interesting, Craig, because I was at the Magic Weekend and I spoke to Ken Davey, Ralph Rimmer, Simon Johnson. There's a date, Monday the 12th of September. That's the date IMG, the RFL and Super League are working towards. That's the date the clubs will be told, this is the blueprint for how rugby league looks over the next 12 years. Because don't forget, it's a 12-year investment that IMG are partnering with the RFL and Super League. And, you know, Ralph, rightly or wrongly, he said he has given full control to IMG. The RFL will not stand in the way of what IMG propose. The RFL don't want to get involved, and some might say that's an admission of failure from Ralph and the RFL. I tried to look at it in a positive
it's a lack of confidence, isn't it? They proved it bringing Robert Elston. There was always a lack of confidence in there. I'm sure Ralph and his staff and Karen and all admit that there was a vote of no confidence.
Yes.
Then they spent $5 million trying to get it right. They got it wrong.
Yeah, and they've got it wrong.
And then the RFL now should be in a really strong position, but then all of a sudden, IMG come along, so it's another one.
Yeah.
Well, actually, we might not be able to do this, so bring IMG in.
And when you look at IMG and their experience, I'm trying to twist what Ralph said into a positive. I don't think there's any shame in admitting the sport needs help. You know, we are at rock bottom. Well, we're not at rock bottom. Rock bottom would be Sky not renewing and the game going wholly part-time, back to like it was in the 90s, where your big clubs like your Wigan and Leeds, who get the fans through, probably can sustain some degree of full-time and a lot of stars. But then you've got a situation where you've probably got one or two clubs winning everything, but then that's not too dissimilar from where we are now with one or two clubs, you know, winning everything. But Ralph said he's not going to stand in the way of IMG. The RFL and Super League are taking a backward step. So the next question I posed to both Simon Johnson, Ralph Rimmer, and of course Ken Davey was, what happens if come September the 12th the blueprint lands on the table and certain clubs look at it and what they're proposing in the restructure and remodelling doesn't favour them, and they're with their self-interest shirt on, we don't want this. Well, Ken, Simon and Ralph all said it's effectively boom or bust. The clubs are going to have to accept it, because you don't bring in IMG, who have all this experience to remodel and restructure, to do a lot of market research. You know, they've spoke to the coaches, they've spoke to media partners, they've spoke to the broadcasters, they've spoke to the sponsors, they've spoke to a hell of a lot of people behind the scenes, a lot of numbers.
Who did they speak to first, Mick, 2 years ago?
They spoke to you, sir. But what I'm saying, Craig, is this blueprint, this restructuring document, how rugby league looks from 24 onwards, is going to land. And basically Frank, being Frank, Ken, Ralph, Simon, they all are confident that the clubs will accept what is put on the table. What is actually put on the table, nobody knows, because we hear the 210s. I'm hearing that it might not be as drastic as first thought, and it's going to be a gradual transition from where we are now to licensing. And I will say this, I won't name the owner of the club, but one championship chairman said this to me: he will not be putting money in the first team squad, he will be pumping the money into the academy, because when what happens, if you've got an academy, you're producing young players, you're effectively growing the sport, that will be so heavily weighted in that club's favour.
I always go back to this one, and Joe would have been a lot younger, but we were there when the first franchising come the last time. We were on the meetings, me and Shane, who now owns Oxford, and we were heavily involved, as much as what they let us know. You know, in them days, Mickey, what we've said before, we want this to go through. If this goes through, you get a slice of this. So if you vote this way, there's 25 grand coming. We all just sat up. You know, the process was, I would say, I'm not saying it wasn't a flawed process, but it was putting people in 2 days to understand what was going to be the future of the sport, and pushing through the things they wanted to go through. And that was swayed heavily on, if you do pick the left one. Now, if you vote in Labour and Conservative, if you vote Labour, Joe, we're going to cut all taxes from the 25s. What you're voting. That's exactly what it was. And Joe goes, well, I'm going to vote what affects me now. It's called policies and the way they shove them through. I still go back to this, and we'll say it again, it has to be some leadership. I just think all the lot lacks leadership. We've got 3 or 4 or 5 staff here at Show Me. So it's not like when we had 100 staff when my last company. We'll talk like, we'll debate, but ultimately, that's how it just has to. I don't know any other way it can be.
You're King Canute.
Well,
you're the king.
And that's not being egotistic. I just think that, do you know when you get a lot of things, Mick, and things go wrong? If there's no leader, you know with some clubs, if you ever look at it, you think, let's not, we are on a show, we like to debate. Let's put so many clubs in this now, and I'll ask you and Joe. If we said the bottom 5 clubs in Super League who are not doing well this year, underachieving, whose fault is it? Have we got characters at them clubs who everyone says, now I don't like the social media witch hunt mix, I don't like people saying things without faceless and saying things about people, but if you're being honest, would you say there's many leaders in Rugby League? No. CEOs, no. Coaches. Would you say that
I'd say the sport.
Would you say Alex Ferguson were a leader of Man United?
110%.
On and off the field, was he the man?
Alex had his finger on the pulse.
Arsene Wenger.
Yes.
The man. Yes. Mourinho at Chelsea, who were the man?
Yes.
Abramovich or Mourinho? Yeah. I'd say it was Mourinho for a lot of years till he. I don't think we actually get that. Do you agree, Joe?
Well, I disagree with the Mourinho Abramovich one. I think Abramovich behind the scenes, Abramovich was.
But early Chelsea, he controlled.
There for that one. Your point is valid. But yeah, I get you. But no, it's no.
Like a leadership all over for me, Mick.
Yeah.
Well, you're right. Ralph said the RFL. Obviously, they've offered their support and their opinion on what should happen. We know the RFL showed the clubs last year the 210 concept, but Ralph said, this is going to be an IMG-led restructure and remodel, because ultimately that is who the RFL have reached out to. The RFL don't want to interfere with that process, albeit they are part of the processing with the research. But my worry, Craig, is still you're going to get to September the 12th, and there'll be some clubs that do not like what's about to happen.
I don't.
Which go on, John.
Why have they not give IMG the full power? I know it's probably hard to.
They have. That. The RFL have in some way.
But I've been speaking to a lot of people, and a lot of them are saying no. Ultimately, it's
the clubs. Yeah.
It still comes down to that. Whatever happens, if the clubs say no, it just gets struck off.
Ken Davies, Simon Johnson basically said, if September the 12th comes and it's staying the same, that's it.
So what?
That's the way it'll be next year, which will be back to promotion relegation, same as this year.
Yes, but you're probably not going to have a Sky Sports TV deal worth what it's currently on now. You could talk about the success of Premier Sports. You could talk about the success of Channel 4. Premier Sports are currently paying £200,000. £200,000 a year. So Premier Sport. No, listen.
I know what you're going to say. I know it's crazy.
Hear me out now. This is no criticism to Premier Sports. It's great that there's a spotlight on the Championship, but the amount of chairmen that have phoned me up and said this is commercial suicide. You know, £200,000. Yes, we get a little bit of a bonus, marketing bonus for every game that we're on, obviously. But you know, Derek Beaumont is absolutely spot on. Valentine's Day, always a hard sell. So why do you put Lee v Bradford on when you get 2,500? Derek's right. If that's a Sunday, there's 4,500. Bradford versus Featherstone at Odsall. If that's a Sunday, that's a 5,000.
I would only feather my marketing. Say you put a budget into marketing and you're saying Channel 4 don't pay for whatever they get, but as a marketing expense, I've got 2.3 million in for marketing. I'm going to allow that because that Channel 4's going 800,000 views. I can justify that to my board and say, do you know what? I know they're not paying us, but we're spreading the sport. We're showing Sky that we can hit massive figures. We're showing on the broadcast. You're right. The Premier one, unfortunately, probably financially, I don't know how many people watch a game, average game on Premier.
Well, the figures have disappeared at the start of the season.
Yeah, they were coming out every
when there were 70,000 people watching Bradford and Featherstone versus York and Featherstone versus Lee. Lee versus Bradford had 70,000. The average actually was down to about 39,000. So forget about the peaks. Let's just say, on average, there was 40,000 people watching those games. Now, that's great, but there's only £200,000 coming in from Premier Sports into
so
the
each
RFL.
championship. So it comes. Let's do it. It comes into the RFL, and it's then been given to the RFL. Does it stay at the RFL or do they go to the Championship clubs? That's part of your...
No. How it all worked, the Premier Sports deal was, depending on how many packages you sell and subscriptions, you had to phone up and say, I'm a Bradford Bulls fan, I'm a Leeds Centurions fan, I'm a Halifax Panthers fan, I'm a Batley Bulldogs fan,
wow.
I'm a Newcastle Thunder fan, a York City Knights fan. And you get a little bit of an add-on off of that. But what the RFL have done with the £200,000 is... I don't know the exact figure, but for instance, Bradford, when they had the Monday night game against Featherstone, I think it was about £3,000 they got, and that was to be put into marketing, potentially subsidising away coaches so away fans come. Like I say, I'm not being critical of Premier Sports. It's fantastic what they've done. I'm just saying, if you're saying there's an average of 40,000 people there, I know you're never going to get 40,000 people paying a fiver.
Would they though, Mick? That's what I'm saying. You know, like we did for Adam Milner's testimonial, and I've heard that the winger at Saints, who somebody said I should have put in our Super League. I didn't mention him with Ryan Hall. Apologies, you're right, but I do know that Jermaine and Ryan Hall have played more games than.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think he did great out of this. I'd actually challenge that. I'd said the way the world's going, would you subscribe per monthly for a channel that was actively there as a rugby league channel to watch games as the RFL have done with their app? The only way you'd ever do it, they tried it on the rugby league app, didn't they?
The one thing I'd say is make the Our League app better. It's a bit naff. I don't want to. Sorry for anyone. It's just not. The platform is not very good. It glitches all the time.
Well, they use two cameras, don't they? Yeah. Two, Mick. Oh.
Yeah, but it's not even the camera. It's not the video. I'm not even talking. I'm just talking about the app itself. The way they get a proper person who knows how to develop a easy to use app, because it's not actually that simple. You watch some game, you can't watch the highlights till 2 or 3 days after. It's like it's not
they
very
need more
clean.
content on it.
No. It's just a bad. It's a bad.
It's talking about the interface.
The interface.
Yeah,
the actual
interface.
What we all watch.
The user's experience.
I think I'd like to say to RFL, I think I want to be spenders on the old pay-per-view.
No, it's not that. It's the actual layout of how to use the app. It's just not a very good app. If you made that into a subscription service, I know loads of pretty much most sports do it now, where they have their own app where you can subscribe to your team and watch all of your team's games on the app, and then you can pay for individual games.
Only thing with that is we're going to be careful not to give too much to that, because then we don't want Sky saying, oh, whoa.
But other sports do it. I don't give up. Are we just going to let...
So Sky, Premier League Sky, their stuff goes out online as well. We can watch it on Sky or on this. I've never known that. Can they watch it on both?
Yes, yes.
And is it a Premier League app?
Only if you're... So in like America, for example, if you're... So each game, if it's televised on Sky, you can't watch that game. That's the only game you can't watch. Yeah. You can watch all the other games throughout the league on your app. So if Leeds' game's on Sky, in an hour Wakey game's on, I won't mind watching that. Corey Old and Lewis Murphy are playing unbelievable every weekend, let's watch it. Boom, just pay a couple of quid, you're on that and you're watching that an hour later. It's just, that's the way it should be.
Your problem again is, and I'll go back, I know I keep resorting to it, is the problem again with all this is for me, one thing, I hope they get right leadership, and I genuinely do hope you get it right. And two is, we've said this for too long. Unfortunately, the people who are watching our sport, I've just been in Mallorca, Mick, I sat with some friends having a drink, and you talk about, you do rugby league. The minute you say it, they go, first thing they do, I promise you, I've got a cousin who plays it. I go, brilliant, where's that? They go, London. I go, you mean rugby union? And they go, yeah. And I go, so that's the first one I get every time. Yeah. We then say, no, this is, I think I've seen it, it's a northern sport. So it's your second one, you have to think it's a northern sport, you get that through at you. You then talk about the chance we had at Toronto, because I find myself always saying, well, we had Toronto, we had Toulouse, we've got Catalans, you're trying to throw the expansionists into them, and they go, right, because you're not, no offence, you're not mentioning Barcelona, you're not mentioning Dublin, you're not mentioning, the capitals, Paris Saint-Germain we did have, we've used that one. Yeah. But, so you're not, do you get me? So I think what we're selling as a product, I just think, Lewis Murphy's second try the other day, yeah? When he just kicked clear of Mamo. 20-year-old athlete in any sport doing a 50-yard try like that. I want to see it, every time I put my YouTube, what's it called? I call it TikTok, you call it.
Well, it's YouTube Shorts, yeah.
Mate, do you know what I see? I can't go on there for 3 seconds without seeing a guy called Andrew Tate. It's actually driving me mad. And I'm not going to go at him because it's quite interesting, right? But I cannot get the same 50 people come on. I want us to see Lewis Murphy scoring that try. Every time I go on there and I want to watch rugby league, and once my phone realises I love rugby league, I want it to throw rugby league at me. Do you know what it throws at me? NRL.
Yeah.
I get NRL thrown at me. I can't get any at Mikey Lewis. I can't get Lewis.
That is down. And this is all part of IMG's strategy. That is all down to the clubs, down to the sport as a whole. Having people in at the clubs, content creators. I know some Super League clubs, Craig, where they've got a 20-year-old media manager who's fresh out of university. No disrespect to that person or individual, but...
I think most clubs do, don't they, want to actually get down...
It's all done on the cheap, Craig. That's me being brutally honest. It's all done on the cheap. You go to Huddersfield Town in the Championship and there's a media team of about 11. You go to Wakefield... I forget his name, Connor, and there's this guy.
And he's doing his best. They're all doing the best. They're doing the best.
They're doing the best.
But they've only got one member of staff.
I won't name the club, but there's one Super League club that I'm aware of because my friend actually went there, and he was doing the media. And they had him actually working in the ticket office as well.
Yeah, so this is not a dig at any individuals. You're all doing brilliant. We're having a dig at the sport here.
This is a constructive criticism on the sport. People might be sat watching this and thinking like, wow, what? Yes, it's true. There's people in this sport whose job is a media executive and sat in the office answering phones for season ticket queries and tickets when you could be putting these fantastic efforts.
Well, do you know when we think...
And that's why IMG, hopefully, when they go on September the 12th and say, here you go, this is the blueprint, that will be covered in there.
Do you know when we've done things historically with Show Me the Money or we did the podcast, we've always done it to prove people we could do it, haven't we? We've always, in it, Sam will tell you, we've always gone, you know what, first to do testimonials, first to do podcasts, first to do of rugby league. You know, within it is a bit different. An agent doing a podcast. It is a bit us doing the first pay-per-view testimonial. We helped with the England tickets in the day when we helped. But anyway, we've always done that. We've switched over to YouTube 6 weeks. Sam?
6 weeks. 6 months.
3 months ago.
About 5 months ago now.
Purely took it off Twitter and 4 months. 4 months we took it off Twitter, we took it off Facebook, where Mick preferred to make and promote it on Facebook and managed to get up to a lot of figures. We decided to take a step back and go on YouTube, right? Because we think that's the best place to promote it in the future, because we're getting, We're now rolling average of, Sam will tell me off if I get this wrong, but I would say we're averaging, let's say, 1,500 to 2,000 at the moment. Joe said last week, Sam said, we've got paid. We're earning money. Sam's put us on is it called Shorts?
YouTube Shorts, yeah.
We're now on that, we've started off with 100 views, it could go up to 300 or 400. Are we saying we're doing a live test of what could be done by every club?
Correct.
And then they'll start doing all this in another year's time or 2 years' time. Now I'm hoping by then we've got 5,000 views and we're becoming a really strong voice. Because get this right, we've all put a lot of work into this just to promote the sport. But this model, and I've said this before, please, somebody looks at it and goes, we could do that, we could do that, we could do that. That's what time it takes. We'll give all if we can get it up to, let's say by December, look to get 2,000 or 3,000 views on YouTube, and we're getting paid kickbacks on that. Are we saying is this promoting the sport, what we do?
Yes.
Everywhere we go in grounds, Joe, what happens now?
People come up to us. Yeah.
They have a laugh, don't they, Mick? You get it, you've had it for years. They'll go, the boys are here.
I had it at Newcastle. I certainly had it in the bars and pubs around Headingley on the weekend, yes.
So, this again is back to what you're going about, the clubs and their marketing and why we don't see rugby league and we can't get enough money back into the sport because we don't market it good enough. We've got to have a. Why don't we just have a? Do you know when you put your 1.8 million and everyone spends 1.6 on players? Yeah. I think the whole sport should. We've got to, and this is an agent. I should be saying opposite. Let's get it up to 2. But I want my players to earn absolute fortunes because you know what? Every one of them deserve it for what they do. But there's got to become a common sense value where they say you're not allowed to spend the full cap because you need to put 200,000 into marketing the sport within your company. If the clubs want the power, they should be absolutely drilled then and hammered for being useless at it. If that's what you are saying, that the clubs are saying, I've still got the power. You know what I'd do? No problem. I'm telling you now, if you don't get a YouTube channel up to X amount of figures, you won't get a license. If you don't get us on every single social media, I would be hammering them, and I'd do it in front of every one of them. I'd call them out and say, you're not good enough, you're not doing good enough, and this is why. Do you get me? Yeah. What's that called again? Leadership. You're not good enough. You're not good enough. He's good enough. He's getting 20,000 YouTube views.
I agree with you 100%, and you made a very, very good point. I think for too long, Craig, the sport has accepted minimum standards, shoddy standards, and yes, we never.
But they want the money.
We're never ever, in my opinion, going to be able to compete with UFC, the NFL, the NRL. But please, clubs, like you say, you've made a valid point, Craig. All these young players coming through for scoring fantastic tries, that should be clipped. It should be on TikTok, it should be on YouTube, it should be on Facebook, it should be on Twitter, it should be everywhere. These content creators the clubs are hiring, they should not be selling tickets or on the phone to somebody about changing seats for a particular.
Do you know our sport thinks?
They're promoting it because the clubs are the best.
Do you know how our sport thinks, Mick? If we put that on, he'll want more money.
Yeah.
Imagine
I agree.
These people being allowed to have a say in what's the future of the sport, and they say, well, if it goes on TikTok, he'll be back in for some more money. So let's just not do it. That's what they're capable of doing. Because that's what we've been like for 15, 25 years. Isn't it?
Yeah. And this is why I think IMG coming on board is going to be a fantastic, breath of fresh air, because they are going to drive standards up. Well, they'll have already looked and have seen what each club is putting out.
But if Joe's right, Mick, and they're not going to allow them to... If Joe's saying, or you said, they're going to still be... The clubs are still going to go in. It's still about us. Joe's right. Someone's going to say to the club, well, it's not about you, son. But I've got the budget.
I know, Craig, but whether this is Simon Johnson, Ken Davey and Ralph Rimmer having a bit of blind faith and crossing the fingers behind the backs when they say they genuinely feel the clubs are going to accept the proposal. It's do or die. It effectively is do or die.
Well, that's just ridiculous to say, though, because if they
don't bring IMG in, you don't bring IMG in.
I 100% agree, but they can't say that if the clubs still have the power, because they can say, "Oh, I think," but ultimately that's not doing anything, because they can say, "I think," but what happens if IMG come up with something radical and say you need 1 million, you need whatever number, just for example 500,000 YouTube subscribers, you need this, you need to promote every player, and they go, as you said, if they go no, I think doesn't matter. I think that, like what Dad's saying, they need to say no. We are accepting this proposal. They have come in and they are saving it, because if the clubs having the power is just taking it all the work IMG might be doing, it could just go down the ground, and again we're back to square one.
Agreed. Do you know when UFC come into town, Mick, or boxing? Yeah. Who do you think? Do you think UFC promotion arm get involved? So they come to Harrogate, come to Leeds. UFC are in Leeds. How does everyone know in this mainstream that UFC are in Leeds? Because the UFC marketing, it'll get straight on it. They'll also challenge the place they're going. Yeah. They're going to do it at the what's it called in Leeds? The Leeds Arena.
Yeah,
Leeds Arena will be put highly pressed because they'd have paid so much for them to come. So they're going to sell anything they can to sell them tickets, right? So you've got UFC, you've got the venue, okay? Then you've got the main one. Every one of them fighters, Paddy Pimblett, what's she called? The little lass now, the Liverpool lass.
Molly.
They've got the best selling products you've ever seen. Do you know every one of these people, they're fighting to get onto the Conor McGregor marketing tool to earn the £1 billion. He's a billionaire now. But every one of them, I put UFC on now, every single one of them. So our clubs have got no gimmicks, they've got no marketing. Do you know Molly and Paddy now are going to sell out to the St Anfield? You get me? Mick, if you watch their careers in the last 18 months, they've just got the sense of right good marketing thing, but they've gone out there. She drank a bottle of thing. Whoa, she's like, she got them all to sing that song. They are brilliant at marketing themselves as well. We've got to start right back. If IMG want to do something, I'll put something to you. Go to every club and absolutely smash the CEOs and say, we've got to make superstars of these players, and you've got to let us do it. And if any of you say no, we know there's a club who don't allow under 21 players to have an interview. I can't even think about it.
It's like what you said. What does Dana say every time a quote-unquote boring fighter fights? He's like, well, that doesn't get the money. He openly doesn't give a crap about paying the ones who don't promote themselves. He openly says, no, he doesn't do it. Part of the deal of the UFC is the acting, is the brash, is the to say whatever you can to get 50 more people to follow you. That's he pays you for that. If you don't do that, you're on that bottom deal. He makes it very open to all the fighters. If you want to be boring and not do anything, you stay at the bottom, and they've got to accept that. There's no ifs or buts. They all say, "Oh, fighter pays rubbish," but he basically says it's rubbish for the ones who don't promote themselves. If we do the opposite in rugby league, you probably get more money if you keep quiet and don't do a thing for the players.
Or in the media executive role, don't put that Lewis Murphy try out, stay on the phone and sell some more tickets to the game. It's unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they have the same model and say, yeah, you only pay the clubs if you can attract this amount of viewers, if you can track this. We do it the opposite way. It just doesn't make sense. I'm not a businessman by any sense, Dad. You know what I mean? That's what Dad, I'm learning from Dad, but that's just obvious. That's not even, you don't even need to be smart to know. Well, force someone to promote, do what Dana does, promote themselves, and then that's how you get them. You earn the right to get the money.
Mick, you know the modern day business model. This is even more scary. Take it a step further. The modern day business model. These TikTok guys now, and I'm only getting into it, so I'm still got my old fashioned values, but I'm into it now at the moment, and I'm trying to understand it. Mick, the billionaires. They're billionaires. So imagine what we're saying here. Jake Paul and his brother Logan Paul, I think they just lost about 100 million on them NFT, to be fair, so they might not have as much. But do you know what I'm saying, Mick? Do you know why is Logan Paul on me? Do you know why? Because he's a marketer on modern day streams, okay? We hadn't talked about Jax ONeil. It's all over now. We can talk a bit more on it. So I didn't want to get involved in all. I think, that was his personal thing, and Jax, did brilliant, and I know he's come off it and whatever. Jack's got 1 million Instagram followers. He's got Jax at the moment through going on that programme. And this is what I said about Rugby League should have used it a lot more. I was involved in some things that happened before when they were going to break it, and I was saying, look, if you break it, Jack's going to lose his deal. We got involved. I advised from Jax. 1 million Instagram followers, they're saying. I think Joe and Steph said yesterday. What's the top Instagram followers of any club in the UK?
I don't know.
Leeds.
What will that be?
Do you want me to find out?
Please, as we're live. Joe, you get so Sam can have a look. So you look at this, the top 5 clubs. So we've got a lad who's gone on a programme and lasted.
Leeds top by a mile, from what I remember.
Well, do Leeds then do bottom one.
I'm going to go on it now, Leeds Rhinos. Here we go. Instagram followers. They have 87,000. 87,000.
So Jax ONeil for being on a programme for 6 weeks. And no one knew him.
St Helens, 48,000.
Yeah, let me tell you, so he's now got 1 million. So he's got more than the sport itself.
Correct.
If you add them all up, Jax has got more Insta followers and social media awareness than all Rugby League put together. Let me tell you. And I can't say you 2 things that happened when Jax. But I'll tell you now, there were 2 of the smallest minded things I've ever seen in saying to this lad, please stay close to sport. We need to use you as the biggie. You've got more Insta followers when you come out than all the sport put together. Can you be our flagship? We'll pay you this as an ambassador for a year. Instead of all these... You got this?
Yeah.
Instead of all these...
Jax is at 1.3 million now.
So let me tell you this. This is going to get me...
You're right. Jax ONeil will have more than all the clubs put together.
We've said it. So let me tell you this.
Double.
So then all these companies now have seen Jack's agency and saying, want him to do this, want him to do this, want him to do this. If I'd have been in charge at RFL and I'd said this, I'd have paid him $250,000 when he come out and said, listen, you just work for us. You come here when you come out and we want to take you everywhere to bring Rugby League to the masses. Do you know what they did? They cut him slack on it. He finished his contract when he did, and the RFL afterwards then, or the old sport, hey, can you do this for me? Not pay it, hey, do this for me. Will you do this for me? We've gone back. Do us a favour. Do us a favour.
That mentality, that backward mentality, yeah.
Well, I didn't even say because I'm allowed to say it, but what we were saying to him in our house 3 months before the show, I'm like, this is the greatest opportunity for the sport to grab a social awareness. I'm sat in Mallorca. There's a lady, she does 12,000 views or 20,000 views on what she does, which is quite good. And we're talking, and I mentioned Rugby League. I got the old Rugby Union again. And then she said, oh, isn't that what Jax ONeil plays from Love Island? And I just burst out laughing. He was my player. Da-da-da. It's crazy, Mick, innit? I've
had 200 conversations like the same, saying, oh, what do you do? I work with my dad, rugby agent, and it's like, oh, Jax, every single conversation with someone new now. Like you said, we've got the best platform ever because I've got people who wouldn't even give... If I said what we did, they wouldn't even blink, it wouldn't even phase them. But now, because of Jax, now they're like, oh, that's so interesting. Yeah. Oh, my dad had Jax. Oh, wait, really? You know Jax? I'm getting more attention now from everyone because it's...
Hey, mate, you know what Jax will be doing? Every other sport or anybody else will be getting Jax to do this, that. We had him. We had him, and we knew 6 weeks before he went on that show what we should have done for that lad should have been. Do you get me? Do you know what we had? I don't watch social media, but I got sent the comments. What's he done that for? Well, let me tell you what he's done that for. Because his average earnings in Rugby League will not amass to what he can earn in 12 months doing this. That's it. Even for endorsing a product, it'll be more than...
I think Jack said on the show he was on about 140 grand, was he? Or...
He wouldn't be on a fourth of that.
No, I meant over... I'm not talking on a year.
Oh.
I'm talking on on his
contract
3-year deal.
Yeah, that's more like it.
He spoke about it on the show.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. He said it. I think he said over the contract he was at Cas.
But guess what we got? Guess what we got? Chip paper. What's he got on that show? But then, he's playing rugby league. Well, yeah, he's gone on there because he's earned more in 1 year than he could have done in a 15-year career.
Correct.
Whether that, and people say, he'll only be there a year, he'll only be there 2 years. So what? So what? Do you know? But again, going back to what we're saying to your thing, we should have used that as we should have not let that lad out of your sight. Honestly, do you know what I'd be doing now? I'd be sending next one in, son. I'd be looking around clubs saying, right, who's next one to follow Jax? Because we've got more chance of getting people watching us through him than anything we're doing. Yeah. So let's go and fight next Love Island. You know what? We've got 50 of them. Yeah. Somebody said to me, how many of them have you got look like Jax? I was quite a few. That's not against Jax, but we've got quite a few, bonny lads. Handler sends well, smart rugby league lads when they go out, are immaculate. Absolutely. You see him in Leeds, you see him in Manchester. They look him. I'd be sending next one in now. I'd be looking round if I were Ralph and that. I'd be going, right, who's next one? Do you get me?
I agree. He's already put ex-rugby league player Craig. A couple of questions have already come in on this. I can't see him going back to rugby league. Not now. He's earning 60 grand for some interviews, and
I'm pretty cool with Jax. Like, we've already had a little text once since come out. And I know he's got to rattle his on. I never promoted myself around Jax. I made a thing of saying to you in there and
Don't
Sam,
mention it,
we're not mentioning anything because it wasn't about us. It's about that lad.
Correct.
And I didn't want to be seen to be, Jax had friends who weren't really his friends. Hey, Jax, they're just trying to get some more likes.
We could have done a video on purely Jax and got loads and loads and loads of views.
There's a load of things you could have done. It was his journey. I'm not into all that. We're real people. We're real about what we do. But I just wish the sport had grabbed him. Honestly, Mick had have had him. Can you imagine it? Old KRV to lose tonight. Jax ONeil's coming to the thing with his so somebody's saying Jax is very close to the blonde-haired lass from
Antigone. Yeah.
Antigone. They're coming to they're coming tonight to the game. They're going to be all schools, all kids.
I can picture it now. You get an hot tub, get him in hot tub watching game, and
you've got it. Well, that's your mind, mate. That's not.
I was thinking.
I just actually had a feeling of what makes me think of watching Love Island.
I do not watch Love Island. I have not watched an episode. I can honestly say I don't get it. It's
Genius.
I was just thinking.
Dickie Bourne and.
No, I was thinking of Paul Lakin and getting.
What did Paul Lakin with Dickie? Sorry, it's getting worse.
I was thinking of Paul Lakin and old KR getting all the ladies in. Jax ONeil in the hot tub tonight.
No, I get it.
You tell the ground out. They don't want to bother about watching.
At Doncaster, we did many years ago, we did a ladies' night, and it was something that Shane and me and talked about. We're like, let's put ladies' night on. So I can remember walking into change rooms and Donny lads and saying, lads, I need 6 best looking lads we've got with best rigs to do a ladies' night. So they're like all looked up. I went, I'm not going to mention names, it's not fair, but I've gone, you've a full chance. And I'm actually good out list, and I've gone, yeah, you're in, you're in. Well, we comes out, honestly, we sold out. It was true, we did. We sold every table. And then what we did is, we got endorsements, so they were selling jewellery, anything that women did buy on the night, we got them to pay £200 to sit in the... We did it with 10 tables. Each player had to have a table to serve the dinner with Dickie Bow with nothing else and the old stripes on. This is how the night went. So all lads were looking at me as we come out. I said, right lads, someone say now you're out. Everyone go to a table, you're serving non-stop. I've never seen how like it was electric. The women were, honestly, one of them was my auntie and she was throwing them up and down. Anyway, it went off and off and off. We then finished off with, they come out in full rugby kit, and if you want to buy anything on the rugby kit, they'll take it off. So I'm sat on mic going, first up with Chris Buttery. Can you remember Butty? Butty comes out with wrong. Anyway, we got about 230 quid for his kit, and he ends up with like. Anyway, I can remember running downstairs, Mick, and saying, go and get some more gear on and quick, it's going like an house on fire. So we brought, Simon Worrell nearly broke the thing. Can you remember Simon Worrell?
Yeah.
The body lad when he come out. Oh my rig! I think it was about 450 quid. I was actually saying bring him out again with another kit on, bring it the week. So you're right. Back to what you're saying. It were like, you want Jack? Can you imagine it?
Well, listen. It's sad that it's potentially looking. I say potentially because the RFL, IMG, I'm sure they'll be trying to get Jax ONeil to endorse the Super League.
Yeah, but it's probably too late because now he's contracted up and they'll only be able to do certain things. It should have been. I can't tell you because it's not right and I'm not that type of person, but some of the things that went off before, if I tell you one day, you'll just laugh. It is us. It's the sport. It's how we think. It's how we think about everything. We don't ever think forward.
Wouldn't it be nice to just, I know it's never going to happen, but just for 1 year we just say, every team just says, let's just give it a go. Let's put expenditure, let's not think negative, let's not think we have to cut costs because we can't afford it. Let's just give it 1 year's go. Whatever it costs, boom, and then if it don't work, then we can just say, you know what, that's the model, this is what it is. But let's just give it a go for 1 year, put money into marketing, put money into this, but let's just give it a right fucking go for a year and then see what could happen.
Well, we know what would happen. It'd be electric, wouldn't it? You could get the sport everywhere, and if they said, right, you know, you've all got a thing to put. Do you know when we got the grand final and Wellesby scored in the last?
I say it every time, yeah.
Got the most hits we've ever had in, I think, in the sport on that clip, right? I'm sure it did. But do you know what? We probably even then that should have been
nowhere near enough.
It should have been worldwide, shouldn't it? You know, I watch a lot of the figures because we're trying to improve our bit in here, and I'm watching how many figures everyone's getting, and it is scary. You know, it's scary. Even the podcast in Rugby League, and we're all promoting it, so we're not getting involved in anything that's not positive. But we should all be going for the same thing. But everything we do is just not. Do you know what I mean? It's just we've now got, I think Joe said 55,000 on Jax's YouTube. Do you know when I didn't do it? I didn't do one going into Jax. Again, I didn't want to sell myself on Jax.
2020 highlights.
So ours is 2020 highlights. 60,000 views on Jax ONeil. Well, thanks, Jax. No, but do you know what I'm saying? 60,000 views.
Yeah, because that's people typing
Imagine
Jax ONeil in YouTube.
What I should have done, I could have easily gone and got Jax, all his new stuff, but again, I didn't want it to be
Jax
that.
ONeil, big tackle, Jax ONeil winning.
It could have been absolutely exploited to the hilt. I watched it all run out, even as you were on, and I'm thinking, I can't even say what I think because it's not fair. But some of the
never had you down as a Love Island connoisseur.
Do you know what? I watched the first couple, then I got bored. I thought it were pretty tragic. I didn't like the way they manipulated young men.
To me, it's scripted
and girls and ladies. But if you've got somebody on it, you know, and we all want to try to back the lad and give him what he. But it is crazy. It's crazy. Gemma Owen, at the moment's trending more famous than her dad, who got top scorer for England for 8 years, worth about 100 million. She's now more famous than her dad because she's had 8 weeks in house. Work that one out. If you want to know how to do it, work that one out. Michael Owen, superstar, Real Madrid, Liverpool. His daughter's gone on programme for 8 weeks, and now they're saying, do you know what they're calling him now? Do you know what he's known as? Gemma Owen's dad.
Yeah, no.
But do you know what? I got a message actually from a load of my American friends saying.
I'm going to say Gemma Owen there, Joe.
No, tweeting
sure
this. Messaging me this on Snap and messages going, new season of Love Island now. Can't wait to watch this new season. I've had loads of messages saying watching the new season, boom, episode 1. All of them watch. America, Love Island UK is just as big as it is here. And they're gonna go see Jax, and I can't wait to message them all going, yeah, we knew him, laughing their heads off because it'll blow their minds because they think they're all superstars, don't have a clue what rugby league is, and I'm gonna blow their mind.
It's the way forward. Hopefully IMG are the best in the world at it, and they get us all off our seats and they say promote it in every way you can. I didn't see the Summer Bash. I didn't watch highlights of it because I like Joe and Jimmy to concentrate on that side for them. But what they were saying on the programme, what we put out, Mick, it wasn't a great success financially.
No,
it wasn't a great success marketing, fans. And let's be honest, I don't think it got that many views, but you're better than us at that.
So historically, the Summer Bash has always lost money when it was in Blackpool, and I'll try and.
Why did we ever pick Blackpool?
I'll try and explain.
Mick, why did we ever pick Blackpool? Just on that.
I just think it was the seaside resort, the working class getaway for Batley, Bradford, June.
Loads of people have said, what can we send it back to Blackpool?
No, Ralph said it's going back to Blackpool next year.
All said it's going back. All the fans have said.
The reason it couldn't be at Blackpool this year is obviously because Bloomfield Road, it was getting pitch redone, and obviously with the Challenge Cup going back to May, the Summer Bash has been moved to summer.
That's how bad. Without being, this is probably the worst.
Don't say it, because I'm thinking what you're going to say. Don't. It's not for us to. You like slag.
But historically, the Summer Bash has always lost money. So Derek, who watches the show, will tell you, because I saw Derek. It was with the Lee fans at the Featherstone game behind the post, enjoying himself. Lee Featherstone, they produced the special shirts. So they covered some of the losses by putting on a very special Summer Bash shirt. Bradford have done it in the past, Featherstone, Halifax, so that they cover some of the losses. One Championship chairman said that the collective losses for this weekend was about £80,000. That's £80,000.
Is that per
divided
for
by
the club?
14.
Oh, sorry.
So it's not. It's 80. It's 80. It's basically lost £80,000. Now, some of the clubs, like Lee and Featherstone, they'll break even on it because they'll sell the shirts. I know clubs like Sheffield Eagles, for instance, they'll be 4 or 5 grand down. Dewsbury, they won't see that money again. The fans did not back the Summer Bash at Headingley. That is fact. It was the lowest aggregate attendance in the history of the Summer Bash.
But
I said at the time,
a lot of them said there wasn't a fan zone, there wasn't anything.
There wasn't. Yeah. I know you've done your segment, but I said at the time to the RFL, this is going to be an hard sell. People at the RFL were like, no, what you're on about? It's Headingley. But what the RFL, I think, missed on the Summer Bash, and this was the whole point, is Bradford versus Halifax in Leeds. You're not going for the weekend. You're literally going in and out. I knew very few Bradford fans who stayed behind to watch the Featherstone game. They were all in the bars afterwards. And that was the same with the Halifax fans.
That's not an issue
if
they
it's in Blackpool,
yeah.
You're there for the weekend. Not saying you're forced to sit and watch those games, but because it's an event and you're travelling to it, and let's be brutally honest.
But if you were taking a sport into the next generation, we've just talked about it for an hour, would you UFC go to Blackpool?
Probably not, Craig, but I think Blackpool works with that rugby league working class demographic. The majority of rugby league fans, certainly at championship level, they are working class people.
Yeah, I get it, and we've done it. I've done Blackpool, I get it, but if we're looking forward,
Headingley hasn't worked.
No, but York, why would York not work, Mick? What am I missing? What am I missing here?
You know what? York potentially could
York's got swimming pools, restaurants,
I agree.
beautiful day out.
York potentially.
Why would they not throw it all at York? What am I missing?
When we went, the last Summer Bash was in 2019 in Blackpool. I know that year Newcastle, they wanted it, and they quite happily said they would play Toronto Wolfpack. Newcastle said they'd play Toronto. They'd play the highest club. If York, let me say this: if York went to the council meeting next week and said, right, we've been offered the Summer Bash next year at York, we're going to have a full year marketing it. We're going to market it at every school in York. We're going to market it all over the country. We're going to get all the pubs to do rugby league special beers. We're going to do everything: craft beer, rugby league beer. We're going to do barbecues. We're going to do this, all the accommodation. Please knock us some discount over. Please get us some in where we can say, if you're a rugby league fan, you've got a season ticket, we'll give you some. So get everybody in York in on it. And you go to York, and the ground, let me say this to you, the stadium's away from the town, so you won't be getting, they'll stay in the stadium, but they've got to have 25 marquees around that stadium, all promoting the game. You want what they're doing at OKR, they're trying to do. You want chefs, you want pork, I agree,
right? And then you make it an absolute party. And then they go, and guess what, boys, at 9 o'clock, if you want to go back to your rooms and stay, you're going to York. And what a night out you've got ready to go in York. There's not one person in York wouldn't love, unless I'm a businessman in York, be like, oh my God, this sounds amazing. Amazing. an absolute amazing. You know what I mean? I had one of the managing directors of a company called Goffs UK. I'm not going to give his name, but he asked me, could I help him get tickets to the Summer Bash? And I thought he meant the Magic. I said, you know not Summer Bash is Championship. I think you mean Magic Weekend. I don't know if he knew what the difference. I still don't. I hadn't asked the question. I'll get for next week's show. He did his stag do at the Summer Bash. Now I don't know whether I don't do that. I don't know whether he's had a. I don't know whether he's had a ball or not, because I think they had a box. So I'm going to ask him how he thought it went. I thought he meant, and I tried to say to him, I think you mean the Magic Weekend at Newcastle where there's 30,000 and they go all partying. You know, the Summer Bash I knew historically is a lot less and whatever, and I'm not thinking it, but I'm putting a thing to IMG now, Mick. Please take it to York. Give York a go, but give a Mick. Make an announcement now. And so York can go and do it.
They said it's going to go back to Blackpool.
I can't. Mick.
Greg, the fans want it in Blackpool.
They're the same fans, they're brilliant, they're loyal, we love them. They're dwindling every year, Mick. You see it on your Oddstal Top. You see it on your Oddstal Top every year.
I see it at every championship.
You lose 500 fans a year.
Oh, I don't know about 500.
Well, 300 fans a year. It's dwindling, it's going to do it, because we're not inventing no new stuff. We've got these plants who are so loyal and amazing, love you all. We're not planting no new seeds, kid.
I agree, but it's going back to Blackpool next year.
What for? Kiss Me Quick and Donkey and...
Just like the Magic Weekend's going to go back to St James's Park and Newcastle.
The issue with the Headingley, whatever it is for next year, the issue with the Headingley one, and Jimmy Mack brought it up, didn't he? I think when we did the thing on it, there wasn't if I've not seen, I might have not done the full wrap.
Yeah, but you're tipping it to a Super League club, I get it.
But there wasn't anything outside. There was not a single thing out.
There was nothing.
There was not a single marquee, not a single thing. There was literally, you walk in, you sit there. Headingley, I'll make it worse here. Headingley ran out of Coca-Cola. They ran out of a load. They didn't prepare anything, so they only sold beer. So the whole thing was just so not well.
But I know how Mick's right. I know how Championship people think, and it has to be at a Championship club, because they'd say, "Oh, F Super League, we're not backing them." You did it at Super League club. That'd be the first thing a lot of them's mind. We're not going to back a Super League club. If it were York are a Championship club.
I agree. York.
Blackpool, I even got. Have you survived? Oh my God, it's just shit. His face went purple, and I thought he had this. I can't. Sam, don't put that on that shorts. I can't believe you've just farted. Right, I can't take it sensible now.
At least the door's open.
Mick that's my thing now. Is back to your point. Is if Headingley, I can see that they wouldn't want to do that, but then let me say to this: how many new fans go to Blackpool, Mick?
None.
Probably less than 10% of the overall attendance.
I'd say less, wouldn't you? Say even less.
Oh, I just said less than 10% of the overall attendance.
So we're putting a bash on to service the existing customers who are happy going to Blackpool because, but we're not going to get any...
It's not just about the Kiss Me Quick acts, Craig. It's a weekend. And
I've done it, Mick.
And let's be brutally honest, and I'm sure there's Championship fans will agree with me on this.
But Blackpool aren't going to run a club now, have they?
No, not anymore. But when I speak to Championship Rugby League fans, and certainly those Featherstone fans and Leigh fans and Bradford and Halifax fans who we had great banter with in the bars around Headingley before, obviously, I had to go to work and do with Bradford Halifax, they're all saying the same thing. It's great, Headingley. There's a bit of nightlife and bars and nightclubs, but it's not Blackpool. Those fans want Blackpool so they can basically go there on the Friday, check into their budget hotel, go out on the piss.
And they're amazing people. They've kept the spot afloat.
Go watch a couple of games on the Saturday, repeat the Saturday night, go out on the piss again, get paralytic in the walkabout and the pop world and all the other nightclubs.
And all see each other.
And the players mingle. I mean, look, Sunday night in Headingley, that's the reason I weren't here on Monday, because I was out till 5 o'clock in the morning. I was out with the referees, I was out with people from the RFL, I was out with players. It was lovely,
Sam, check that.
Go on my Instagram, the pictures are there. And, Cameron Worsley, Liam Rush, lovely young referees, all the best boys. you know, and that's what they want, Craig. Headingley just didn't provide it. But I told the RFL, I said, you're making a bit of a boo-boo here, but I can understand we're coming out of COVID. Obviously, Uncle Gary's done a very favourable deal. But the clubs have still lost money. As a collective, £80,000.
Well, I'll tell you all clubs tomorrow. Give York a go. Just give York one go. Give them 12 months as a town to promote it. Give them 12 months to get it right. And I'm telling you now, York, it is at Mick, I'm telling you, it would absolutely. Now, what you've got to do then is take your hats off where your Bradford fans go, why York? Why not us? And then you get June, but why not us? You can't do that one. Again, we'll go back to having a boss.
I can't speak for Bradford fans.
No, but you go back to having a boss who says, I'm not interested.
I agree, Craig.
It's what's best for the sport.
Couldn't you do it like the All-Star Week? Effectively, it's like an All-Star weekend in a sport, where it's a spectacle of our sport. Most sports do like a one-off spectacle event. Obviously, I know in America the All-Star weekends. In England, we do summer bash, football do their own stuff. But why wouldn't you do a different city that a club is at a different?
Yeah, like London.
Yeah, London, York, like you said, Bradford. Do them all. Have it on a rotation every year, and each year they get a crack at
York
getting their fans.
You imagine marquees outside, right?
No, I've been to York. I've been to the LNA Stadium.
We go to York and we get 5 York bands. And they're playing live music, and everyone's coming into the ground, and there's bands on, and it's electric, and there's all these stalls. We've got, because they've organised it here before, we've got 500 stalls selling everything. Everything. You can have this, that food. It's a Glastonbury job. Yeah. Everyone's just enjoying it outside. Then they all go in, and we start off with a band on, and it's like, it's all about York, and how good. We'd be all there. I'm telling you, they'd sell out. If they promoted it right, they'd sell out both days before you get there. There won't be people going a week before. Not 20 quid off ticket, we've dropped a rate bollock here.
No, I agree, Craig, and perhaps that's something the RFL need to look. But, you know, as with the Summer Bash, there'll be the Magic Weekend, there'll be a Summer Bash debrief. Everyone will come together. But Blackpool is well and truly on the cards for next year. But point taken about York, I do agree. I do like Blackpool. I wouldn't say no to York. Right. Cool.
Mick, I was brought up on Blackpool Beach. I did it as my oldie for the first 10 years of my life. I have been on every donkey as a kid in Blackpool. I've done, as an 16, 17-year-old, I've done the Tower. When it used to have the nightclub, I've swung on it. We've had it, but again, until Blackpool changes Blackpool, because they've got a big, we were saying about, my mum used to work in Blackpool. My mum said how beautiful it was. But it's not a town that's on. They're not investing millions into Blackpool to make it. Do you get me? Yeah. I've just been Mallorca. I got a shock in my life. You know what they said? Yeah, and if this is true, they said the town that's getting the most money put into it in Mallorca is Magaluf, because they were sick of the 90s and what it become. So now they've made everything's going to be Swiss bars, Swiss food, Swiss apartments. They're investing millions to update it. That's what Blackpool needs, isn't it?
Yeah, because they don't want that sort of
chavvy
element.
Right, there we go. Apologies, Blackpool.
They don't want that chavvy element.
They are doing that. Are they doing that, Blackpool? And investing... Last time I went,
I was in Blackpool about 2 weeks ago, and it's still very much, you know...
Oh, last time I went...
Come and have both palms read for 15 quid, you know... Yes.
Well, we could read your palms, and we know what you're thinking now. It's Mick, you're thinking of Jax ONeil at middle car in Jacuzzi and Paul.
No, I wasn't. But look, they're going back to what you on about. I was thinking of selling it for the ladies. You give over, you.
Sorry, we haven't banter.
No, it's all good. Right, we'll go on to some questions. Let's just do the Bradford thing and get it over and done with, because so many people have started the Bradford thing. Right, here we go. Where are all the Bradford ones?
Time him, Sam.
Sam Pyra! What's going on at Bradford? Are they going to make any signings? So many questions about Bradford.
That means there were one.
Right. My assessment of Bradford is this. It has been a bit of a car crash of a year. The facts don't lie. The club's going to miss out on the playoffs. The club is going to lose a lot of money in central funding. It goes without saying. The lower down in the table you finish, the less money you get. The fight and race for Bradford now is that four-way battle with Newcastle, Sheffield and Widnes. Bradford should not be finishing 10th or 11th. That would be a season of abject failure. Nigel Wood can try and dress it up the best he can, as can the CEO, Jason Hurst, but the facts do not lie. It has been a car crash of a year. Internally, I think there's been some mistakes made in the recruitment. Can't really go into too much detail at this moment in time on that, because I don't think it's fair. But what I will say, if you want a clue, for those Bradford fans that watch this show, look at the body language of the players, look at who is talking to who out there on the field, look if anybody's arguing. As I said a couple of weeks ago, Barrow away, there's arguments all on the field. Fans don't want to see that. That points to no harmony in the dressing room, or certainly a lack of harmony. I know I've said that about Featherstone this year, and the criticism will go to Bradford. Mark Dunning's got one hell of a task moving forward. And I don't say this lightly, because I know quite a lot of the players have told me personally where they're going and they're moving on next year. There will be wholesale change at Odsal next year. If you're asking me now, I think there'll be a minimum of 16 players through the door. That's 16 out, and when you've got 16 going out, you need to bring 13, 14, 15, 16 in. So, Mark, and this is a huge defence of Mark, rightly or wrongly, that current squad is not Mark Dunning's. That's the squad that Nigel Wood and John Keir have assembled. The book has to stop with Nigel Wood and John Keir and the players for where the club is at this moment in time. Ultimately, Craig, and Bradford aren't just being picked on by myself here. As you know, I've got a very close link with Bradford, and effectively they are the club I've supported for 30 years of my life. Other clubs obviously have got recruitment wrong. I won't name some of the Super League clubs, but you've only got to look at the table. Yeah. Recruitment, horrific recruitment. Wrong player, wrong club. It happens every year.
It does. And we talk about how much.
Yeah, and for Bradford, obviously it's going to hurt a hell of a lot more. The good news is, I'm aware of a couple of Super League players who have joined. And when I say Super League players, and I stress this, don't be thinking high-end, top-end. We're talking young Super League players who've been released by clubs who are going to be given an opportunity at Bradford. Because Mark has said time and time again, Craig, and I think you'll agree with what Mark Dunning's assessment is, he wants them to be more enthusiastic, he wants them to be more agile, he wants them to have more energy, he wants them to have more pace out there on the field. Mark wants to change how Bradford Bulls look and how they play. You've only got to look at the reserve game that played against Hulkington Rovers. You saw that game. That is Mark Dunning's squad. That is Mark Dunning's side. I know they were playing a very disjointed Hulkington Rovers side. I know it was 60 points to whatever it ended up being. But you saw some of those Bradford plays, the tries, Craig. That's what Mark wants to do with the first team. Unfortunately, what Mark Dunning's got, he hasn't got the players with that ability to play that way. So that is why there's going to be 16 out. Wholesale changes. Honestly, this is probably going to be, in the history of the club, the season where that big reset button gets pressed, because you're going to have so many players leaving and so many new faces coming in. And if people think, where's the recruitment, what's going on? Well, let me tell you, as you know from what happened on Monday afternoon, Brian Noble, Mark Dunning, Nigel Wood, they're sitting down with you guys, they're sitting down with other agents. The recruitment, another agent told me, they've got their finger on the pulse. In terms for next year, to try and sort the mess out.
But the first thing you do when you're recruiting is, you've described what type of player Bradford are going to get. You've got to recruit that. You've got to take that right back.
I agree, Craig.
You've recruited a certain type of player this year. It's obvious for everybody who don't even know rugby.
Correct.
You've gone for the same type of player, an hardened criminal who can do a job regardless of being overweight, regardless of being massively into fast twitch or fitness levels, who can improve within the system. We want that pudding. We want that. That's already there. It's been there. We'll take that. They didn't go for that. What they should have done. My advice to Bradford is this, and I've said it to Nigel when Joe were there last year. 100% I'd wipe floor with 90% of it and start again. and I would go for them young men and improvers and say to the fans, listen, you've just, I keep saying it, I'm sick of saying it, give us 18 months, give Mark 18 months, get them get young players in who have got an absolute brilliant attitude, put 3 or 4, because it's the championship, put 3 or 4, you know, hardened criminals, your Sam Allis's and that round them, and then develop a club. If you're going to use the word development, recruit development. Don't recruit somebody who's played 150 championship games. Listen, that Batley, what they've done is amazing, right? Amazing on what they've done and how they've done it. I have so much admiration for that club and the coach and them men. But unless they keep getting that hardened criminal in, you know, your Dane Manning super championship players, every year they're gonna lose. I think somebody said Dane might be his last year, his might be last year. So what they're very good at Batley is replacing that, keeping that solid thing. That's fantastic for their model. I would never have that model. I still dreamt at Doncaster of developing that and saying, here we go, Luke Gales, this will Kyle Woods. We got, I think, 4 Super League players out of it. We got 3 months' notice. We produced 4.
Burgess on loan.
We got a lot. It was fantastic what happened as young men. That were always the one to do. You have now become at Bradford, let's be honest, you've become that club where, when you look at your team on team sheet, do you look at excitement?
I'll be brutally honest, Craig. When I look at the Bradford Bulls team sheet, what is a bit of a harrowing's probably a strong word, but what's a very disappointing fact is the lack of the homegrown players that are now coming through. Yes, you've got a George Flanagan Jr., a Miles Lawford, a Lewis Camden, a Marcus Green. Those players will be the next crop. They will be your next Oliver Wilsons.
You know, Mr. Gray, yeah, come on.
Harry Gray. Look, a lot of them.
And the rest of the lads.
Yeah, a lot of them are still.
We've got a young prop, Mick. I'll give him a plug here, joking, do it, not me, but there's a young lad, and we think a real lot of him.
At Bradford?
Yeah.
Honestly, Nigel said something to me about him.
If you watch any of the under...
Yeah.
And you can say it.
Yeah, Jamie Gill.
Yeah, Jamie Gill.
I think he's got absolute... Yeah. I think Jamie's 6'5".
He's taller than me.
Is he a size 13 boot?
14, 15, I think.
Whoa. This isn't a Super League clubs listen and come in for it.
No, 100% not. I want him to come through. I'm just saying it's...
I was joking.
I am so impressed with how you do get that talent. I know you've lost a few to other Super League clubs already. Let's hope that the 2 or 3 they
but this is what I'm trying to say, Craig. The players we've just said, your Jamie Gills, your Harry Grays, your Lewis Camdens, your Miles Lawford, your Marcus Greens, they will come through. They will be.
Now this is it. There's only one question for Mr. Noble, Mr. Wood and Mark. Mark, you know, give all them lads you've just mentioned 15 grand then and keep them. If you're going to keep them. And let me tell you, give them 3-year deals, 15, 18, 22 grand, right? And get rid of all that 30, 40 grand rubber, you know, whatever it is, whatever's happened, and say, no problem, get you sent off. We're going to give these 3-year deals and we're going to pay them good money, so these Super League clubs are not going to pinch them. They're going to play first team at Bradford for next 3 years, and we're going to develop these players and they're going to put Bradford back on the map. Show intent on first 7 signings you've got. Is my challenge.
No, I
go and sign 7 of them up for 3 years.
I agree, Craig.
That's when you're serious.
I agree with you, and like I said, going back to about the recruitment and what's gone wrong, horribly wrong in my opinion at Bradford, the stuff I know that I can't really say, because whilst the season's going on and there's still players at the club, it puts my position in a very difficult light. But I will be open and honest once the season's gone, and on some of the fundamental flaws what's gone on. But ultimately, you are absolutely spot on. Bradford, as a club, and I'll say this again, they can't have a situation where you've got an Ethan Ryan leaving because the chairman, the owner, the coach, they've let the contract negotiations run right down to deadline day. You can't have a situation where you're signing a fullback and you're allowing Luke Cooley, who's now joining Leeds for next year. So you've Luke Cooley, still a young player. Luke Cooley, he has come through the Bradford Academy, Craig, and obviously Rowan knows Luke really well because obviously he was head coach at Bradford when Luke Cooley was there. Obviously, he went on and Jeff Tuvey, and then Luke Cooley's gone. He's gone to Wakefield and obviously been a really great servant for Batley. But that's all got to stop. That has got to stop, And with Mark being in
Only
the
way you'll
academy
stop it is what I said to you. Sign them on 3-year deals and give them proper money.
I agree. But with Mark being ingrained in that academy culture for 10 years, I have full confidence in Mark's ability and judgment.
But if he don't get the backing to do that and he offers them $4,000, they'll all be gone. All your top talent will be gone.
I agree. But that's where it's going to be difficult. And my message to Nigel, and again, I've not seen Nigel. I know he was there at the weekend. We've not spoke. He doesn't want to speak at the moment. He's be honest with the fans. I implore Nigel to be honest with the fans. Tell the fans that the budget is going to be there or thereabouts, maybe 20, 30 grand less than what it currently is this year. Just be honest with the fans, because what harms the club more than anything is when you get these ludicrous statements that say we're going to be a top 3 team, we're going to be challenging Liam Featherstone.
Exactly.
And that builds that expectation up. Fans are all, yes. Yes, they had the good win against Dewsbury in round 1. Round 2, Sheffield, in the mud and the rain. One of the worst games I've ever had to call. Not because Bradford lost, because it was just diabolical. The handling errors, fair play to Sheffield, a fantastic win. But then you're down to rock bottom. Week after, you play late, you get pumped.
But the best marketing tool for Bradford at the moment is to announce 3-year deals for 7 of their players.
I agree. And
that's it.
And if
they do it, I'll believe you. If not, it's not going to happen.
And if
it'll be roll out the barrel again, they'll bring him out. They'll say he's available. He's 31. I agree. Boom, boom. They'll do the same thing.
And just a final point on Bradford. If we are going down the potential licensing 210s or whatever, that academy needs to be ring fenced. 110%. That academy needs to be ring fenced, because that, sadly, is all Bradford have going for it at this moment in time. Because they're not going to go up on the field in the current position they are in.
Mick, you're 15-year-old lad. You get offered all these clubs. You've played amateur in Leeds. You're playing amateur in Bradford. You're playing amateur in Huddersfield. If you see a club who are signing their 17-year-olds on 3-year deals to play first team at 18, 19 and coaching them and absolutely learning them, I'm a parent. What do? Get to Bradford.
Yes, agree.
They're actually doing it right.
And
this would have a knock-on effect. Just like you said, you're right, mate. Take the expectancy over all the fans. Say, listen, we are doing lower budget, but guess what? And walk them 7 lads out with Bradford tops on next year's kit and say, guess what though? This is where we're going to start here. You lot would be standing ovation if they did that. You'd be, if you got Flanagan, all them, and they come out and they said, we are going to do what we dreamt about doing, what Bradford were there for. We're going to develop our own. And all that academy, them underneath them, they'll go. I've got 2 Super League clubs, or especially one that I've put this 3 years ago. I said, this is easy. Once you start putting your youngsters through, the others believe it. It's not what you're doing now. It's what them 40-year-old parents are doing. They're going, well, who's best chance of oh my God, he's got 48 appearances and only 21. Yeah. That's what they want. Yeah. I just done a deal on somebody, and he hasn't gone to the club where I would have 100% thought he would. And one of the things he kept saying is, I'm not convinced about getting in that side, and there's not the opportunity for me that it should be. And it's a smashing club, but I were like, I get it, and I get it, but he wasn't convinced because of the age of what they had, the players, and the way they did it. He wasn't convinced there was going to be an opportunity for him. True. Wow. Honestly, top player. He'll come out next 2 weeks.
Love to know what that is. I don't know this one.
We can do another inside the deal when that gets announced, but hopefully that answers some of the questions on Bradford. It is a mess, but you've got to, look, one of the candidates in the running for the job said it's a 3-4 year rebuilding job. Mark Dunning would not disagree that 100%. There is a rebuilding job at the club. Fans have to be patient, but
nail all them. Yeah. I know how many people are tapping them up now, so I know what's going to happen. And I'm telling you, the only way to stop it, I put 190 grand in Bradford's coffers because I was asked to do that to get the money. That's different. I believe in them lads staying. Rowan Mills, they should have all been secured at Bradford.
Correct.
I did what I did when my heart breaks with Truey not getting the fee. It will always break. Yes. Bradford should have been given a fortune for what that was. Terrible management of the club to allow a lad to go out on nothing and not offer him a deal because there was nothing there, and he had to. Terrible.
I agree.
Same
with Cameron Scott. Craig, like I say, all that I know it's always going to be a memory, but those shady practices, and I'll call them shady, unscrupulous, it's got to stop.
Yeah.
It's all got to stop. You know, selling players like Oliver Wilson to keep the club afloat. And then to this day, I have never ever had an honest answer where that 125 grand went. Some people say it's gone in this back pocket. Some people say it's gone here. To this day, there was never any transparency about the 125 grand that Bradford got for Oliver Wilson. And like I say, you know, this is the problem that Jason Hurst and Nigel would have got. Because you've got a largely disenfranchised fan base that's disillusioned, that have gone through multiple administrations and liquidations, and they've seen.
You know, it takes so much, can't they?
You can. It's like a relationship. If you're with somebody,
yeah,
and every couple of years they do the dirty and they cheat on you, that's what it's like.
Yeah.
And that's the problem Bradford have got. That's the problem Nigel's got. His name is Marmite. He knows he's known as the Marmite Man. Nigel knows. He has got one hell of a job.
The problem with Nigel is he makes out that doesn't hurt him, but it does. I see him. I watch how Nigel is, but he walks around people. He's very. I think he's very thing around what people think of him, which I always thought he had. You know, I've got.
He's got certain.
I suppose people who think they've got. No, I don't mean that. I mean, like me, you know, people think you're a super confident lad and like you could take anything. He's got crocodile. How many times we take crocodile? I hadn't. I take it a little bit, gives me a little, and you know. Now people see me, and I can walk in front of 1,000 people, Mick, and do anything, dance, sing, talk about. But I tell you what, the critique and the hammer you get has a massive effect on you. Nigel definitely feels that. This is why I would say to him even more, Michael. Go and get them youngsters signed up and absolutely. First job, instead of talking, hey, we need that centre. He's coming up. He's at Newcastle. He's 30-year-old, but he's a proper centre in Championship. You hear this a lot in Championship. He's a proper Championship player. And I go, no, secure that centre in your under-18s for 4 years, and within 6 months he'll be better than him anyway. He'll be better than him anyway. We've said last week on show, Mick, we'll leave it at this because we need to do some quick fire questions.
Yeah.
Lewis Murphy, 15 months ago. Okay? He came on the scene. He's got no background in rugby league. He hasn't got 200 games of amateur. He's come along. He's a late developer. He got given an opportunity, as did Corey Hall, because of injuries at Wakefield. That is it. Don't think there's no magic wand. I want to pick him. They picked him because there's no... How many times does the great John Bastian has said to us on 50 times, they'll never let you down, kid. You'll give them the opportunity, they'll never let you down. They will not let you down. How many times do Super League clubs don't still get it? I could, honestly, we haven't got time to give them 10 games. You will get a Lewis Murphy. They're there at your club. Yeah. They're there. No one's talking about Lewis Murphy in under 18s. Suddenly gets given 15 games. What does he do? Corey Hall, what do they do? Because they've been given opportunity, as John Bastian says, they won't let you down. They'll get better every week. They'll learn. And the ones who don't learn, the ones who don't think, yeah, you might lose some of them, but on the whole, do you know how many players making history? Sam Tompkins, Regan Grace, they got played because of injuries. It wasn't a choice. We've said it to you, Danny
I had
Maguire.
to explain to a player actually yesterday. I had a phone call exactly along that line, saying why these people getting given and all that stuff, and my answer was purely, and I think I was right. Oh well, the players in front of them got injured. That's it. That's most of the opportunities.
Mikey Lewis,
most of the stars, all of them get in there because.
Truey,
look,
played against Wigan, hat-trick in 22 minutes. Why? Because they didn't have Luke Gate. They had everybody out.
Yeah.
It's a known fact.
But they don't. Yeah.
But the connection from the chairman to the coaches, what he wants to what the coach. Mark Dunning might say, do you know if I were Nigel, I'd sit with Mark and say, we're going with them, kid. And if you don't want to go with them, you tell me now, because you can go.
To be fair, Mark,
I know Mark will say, I do want to do with that.
Yeah, Mark, that's
the
Mark
conversation.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, if that conversation's not happening, and they're going to bring the old 32, and they're going to say, let's go here, tried. Do you know how many times you hear the word tried and tested? Do you know as an agent? 50 times a day. Yeah. And a top coach on this morning, I'm looking for tried and tested. I went, here we go. Here we go. Goodbye.
Emma has asked a question about Jack Walker and Leeds. What does the future hold? Obviously, he's currently at Hull.
Jack is currently got another year left. We're meeting Gary on Monday with Jack to discuss what's going to happen. He was outstanding last week against Toulouse.
He was.
He played his last 5 games. I think they asked him to play because he was carrying a dead leg, but typical Jack. I'll play. I would say, if I'm talking honestly, I don't think Jack will end up back at Leeds. Yeah. I think it'd be sad because I thought he'd be a superstar there for his things, but injuries at the time, and I'll challenge Leeds a little bit in saying I hope that they'd have watched him at Hull and thought, wow, you know, he actually can. He made a comment, did Jack, on our podcast. And it was that honest one-on-one, and he said, I have to manage my body now to suit what I know about it. That shouldn't be seen as a weakness, and it was. It was seen as a weakness, and in saying, oh, he's got to manage his body. Well, so do all top athletes in the world. What's happened? That's called sports science. It's now called that these athletes know how to manage their own body and what to push and what not. We're not in 1970s more. A lad saying that as honest doesn't mean he's saying, I'm going to miss a training session. I know how certain people portrayed that, and I was like, that's rubbish. He's actually mostly, you know what? He's that honest, he said it. Imagine others who are cheating and doing all that. He just goes, listen, I hope that Leeds would have watched another 4 weeks, and then they can put Jack against what other fullbacks they've got and say, wow. Because what I'm seeing, let's be honest, he's gone into a club where the pressure is on. He's gone into a losing team. He's gone into an atmosphere that's not great. All I hear of all the lads and all the coaches, superstar, love him. Everybody absolutely loves him. So, in a straight thing, Emma, I personally don't think he'll end up winning back to Leeds. It'll be a shame if he don't. And I hope Leeds, all these injuries he got, he was playing. He didn't do them in nightclub. He didn't do them driving car. He did them on where it matters, on field. So, part of being a rugby league player is you doing that and you get injured, but you're doing it for you. Do you get me?
Yeah.
There's a lot of. I don't think people realise in contracts with rugby league now, mate. The private insurance, medical, they'll have a clause in it, and it'll say we will pay for it as long as it's done
on the field
or within the training. Yeah, you know, but if you pull a hamstring, if you do something outside of it, we won't cover it.
I think that's
Jack's
fair.
rolled it on field.
I think that's fair. And like I say, I know it's not.
And he's an outstanding young man.
And I know it's not been formally announced, but you know, word has got out. Luke Cooley potentially to Leeds.
Well, you just announced it 10 minutes ago.
Did I? Oh, well, there you go.
I don't think it's.
It all times in.
I don't.
Well, challenge him if you don't think it's true.
You don't think it's on, Joe?
No, I don't. I'm not saying that.
We're on the show.
We're on the show.
I said I don't think it's on. I don't know. I generally is. I think a lot of clubs are after him, aren't they? In Super League, that's a well-known fact. I think his future is probably his future is in Super League.
I know Batley are going to lose a lot of players. I do know that. I do know John Keir at Widnes is taking a few over the Pennines to Widnes. I'm not sure if we've got many Widnes fans, but just a quick one on Widnes. They are going to be spending the money next year. They are going to be spending serious money. Now, Widnes, again, a club that had the academy, lost the academy because they needed to fund the club elsewhere. They're going to have to do it on the field. They if licensing comes back, as I said, you know,
we've got one. I'll leave it on this one, Mick. We've got one more. As a company, we're growing all the time.
Yeah.
We're doing off the field this type of thing, marketing. We're doing in it. One day, I will prove about what I say about what Bradford should do, what other clubs I have told to do. I'm 20 years after my Doncaster, which I think we did a remarkable. We broke every record on and off the field what we could do at that time. We did everything right, other than in a stadium that were costing 20 grand a month. That's the truth. Paid 290 something grand in the stadium. Everything else was absolutely. And we had 7 to 8 players under 21 who were brought in to Championship to prove that we'd said we'd do what we were going to do.
In League One.
We marketed, and my best marketing tool was bringing Ellery Hanley. That was the market. Doncaster needed somebody to Ellery Hanley. I went round before for a month before and asked all Donny things. So do they know? They only said Martin Fire and Ellery Hanley, Gary Schofield. So I said, well, I am one of them. True story. If we can, through my friends who've got a few a bit of poke along, we'll prove it. We'll take one on. We can't do it being an agent, but they can, and we can. It'll happen in next 3 years. I said to somebody the other night, we will take a club on and prove to everyone how it should be done, and how it can be done with youth, and how it can be done with retaining the best youngsters.
Would this club be close to my heart?
I don't know what to say. Do you know? Well, obviously, no. It would.
I don't want to fuel any.
No. But I promise you, and I spoke to one of my friends yesterday.
Bradford.
Andy Dodds.
Bradford is for sale.
I know. It's a character, isn't it?
If the money's right.
I spoke to Andy yesterday, and he knows for a year. And spoke to Joe and people, and I've said it will happen. You know, we will find a way for them. My lads are ready. And if there's a club in next 2 years, and we can help develop that club to the promised land by doing everything the right way, and it'll be the youngsters, and it'll be what Sam's doing. You know, Sam will be working. I want them all to. We're going to put all this, and it'll go in, as well as being hopefully the leading agent in the top 3 or 4 Rugby in the world. That's our ambition as people. We're going to get more staff. We're going to get more things. We're going to do it. But I've got to say, my friends are ready. We have, you know, our investment at the moment. The lads we're buying too many Rexels, I think. But anyway, we need to. But I think the only way we'll ever prove it, Mick, and have the T-shirt we all walk around with, is to say, "There's your plans. The lads are all in place. We'll put the players in.
I like it.
We'll put the players in, and we'll show them all, and we'll say to them, you know, everybody, listen, this is a club which will have absolute 100%." honesty of what the I'm going to put it on. I'd put it on every wall that if they should be all about the youth, all about development, and keeping and retaining players. That's the first thing you do. Retain them, give them proper contracts, tie in with education, and give them proper contracts, and give them the best coaching they can possibly get. And we're not going outside. I wouldn't go outside of that. Honestly, I wouldn't go outside of that. There was an agent, I think Joe might tell me more, but there was an agent who bought, I think you can in football buy it, I think you could. And I think he got involved at Wolverhampton Wanderers of the year and they got up. I'm sure, please get the story for me.
No, he didn't. He didn't buy. I don't think he buys the club, but he's got a very strong relation with their own. And then he's from there put all of his superstar young players, 21, 22 years old, and pumped them into Wolves, and they play unbelievable.
And listen, we'll do our things, but listen, for that 16-year-old kid and 17-year-old lad who might have been left out and is there, it's coming.
Yeah.
We're gonna, Dodsey said to me, Andy said to me, there's loads of players who are getting released, who are getting this and we're getting that. Listen, your top tier player will go. You can't promise them to go to that club, but you've got 40, 50 players who you're looking and going. I had a conversation about one of Joe's players, and people said he's not good enough. He's good enough. He's good enough. Or he could be it could even be a Super League player in 18 months. He's got a choice to make here where they'll lose him. They'll lose him in this horrendous system we've got of playing 30-year-old players and not giving that youngster a chance. Somebody's got to come alive and do this. And I think the only way we're going to do it, Michael, is to put the boys and do it his end.
Correct.
I say as much of what we can on that.
Yeah.
Well, there we go.
It's been another good show with the full 80 minutes on Show Me the Money Rugby League TV. Some of the questions we didn't go through, we will go through on Monday show. Jimmy Mack's here, and I know Jimmy wants to talk more about IMG. Listen,
just to let you know, Jimmy doesn't have a say on what goes off at this show. Jimmy at the moment is T-boy Mick. He doesn't get any say in anything that goes off at this show. Sorry, Jim. Just watch where you're at.
But yeah, it was Batley 32, Sheffield 22 last night. Don't forget Hull KR against Toulouse. A massive game with Toulouse after what Wakefield did against Cass. Huddersfield, Hull FC, Wigan, Warrington tomorrow. Sunday, Leeds, Salford. That is a big game for both clubs. Leeds, they're They've turned it around. Can they make the playoffs? I am backing Rowan Smith and Leeds
Tonight's
to get in
game,
the
Mick,
playoffs.
tonight's game. Come
I
on.
know. If Toulouse go to Craven Park and win, Paul Wakefield are back in the bottom and they host Catalans.
And Warrington.
Well, the big game is next week. Warrington v Toulouse. That's the big game preview. Oh, Warrington have already
How
done the
far
Colts
are OKR away from this? Because me and Paul talked today and he said, and we were having,
They're 4 points ahead of Warrington.
Hull safe.
OKR. Then after everyone, all
It's
the bottom
Warrington,
teams would have
Wakefield, or Toulouse. But
Warrington
people
14.
keep saying
do
to
we know
me-
what the odds are for the relegation? Does anybody know who's favourite to get relegated now?
Wakefield.
You kidding?
Wakefield is still favourite, yeah.
More than Toulouse?
Yes.
Wow. Sam's looking now for us.
Well, you famously
It's the
did a
points- it's the
relegation
points
show
for
last
and
week and
against.
said.
Well, no, to be fair, Wakefield's win at Cast. Wakefield might. There'll be very little between Wakefield and Toulouse.
That'd be so interesting, that, because I wonder what Warrington are now, whether you'd have thought they could have gone down
Well,
from... They'd have been what?
250 to 1.
500,000 to 1.
Yeah, to go down, yeah. Wow. And they've got Wigan. Then they've got that game against Toulouse. Oh, massive game. Championship-wise, Bradford, Workington, pretty much Workington down. Bradford aren't going to make the playoffs.
Mick, when I said 5 weeks ago, Leah, the greatest side to play Championship, I got a text off another coach in the Championship, and he said they're the best team I've ever seen in the Championship. So what I said when everyone went, oh, you can't.
No, they are.
Do we all agree now?
Listen, the way...
I agreed with you when you said
You
it.
know what? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought in the second half they took the foot off the gas a bit against Fev. That could have been 50 or 60. And that just shows you the golfing class. And Derek, I know we had a chat on the terraces on Saturday. You know, fair play to you for putting your money where your mouth is. But yeah, look, we'll be back next week. If we've not answered any questions, we'll do them on Monday's show. Keep it positive, Rugby League. And yeah, what a game later on this evening, or if you're watching this.
I've just seen a load of McDonald's arrive, lads. We're on!
Is it actually?
Yeah, definitely.
Where's
we're
McDonald's?
on. Switch it on.
Right, I'm off for a Mackey's. Bye.